All right. Happy Hump Day, everybody, and Happy New Year. 2022 is here. Everything that was done back in 220 and 2021 is behind us, and so 2022 is ahead of us. We've got a clean slate, and so one thing that we want to do is just bring good content and good information in 2022. So Keith and I will be meeting in the podcast here the first Monday of every month and just going over different real estate investment questions. We'll do a Q&A. This is an opportunity for you guys to come on and in the comments section, ask your questions, make comments. And so it's interactive. Keith has a number of questions that he'll ask me from what a lot of our coaching students have asked in the past. And so I'll answer those for you. But if you guys have questions about anything as it relates to investing in real estate in general, how to build wealth, just go ahead and fire away. So I see a number of you guys are here. Good morning. And so, Keith, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay. All right. Happy New Year, everyone. So, Greg, one investor asked, private investors. Private investors, it's easier to deal with them. You can get to the settlement table maybe a little bit quicker, more simplistic process. So an investor wants to know, how do you go about building quality relationships with private investors?
So private investors are just simply people with money. And so you just got to figure out who those people are. And they should be people just kind of in your circle already. And sometimes you'll be surprised who has money. And so it could be people that have a 401k. I'm here in the DMV. We got a lot of people who have what's called thrift savings plans because they work for the federal government, or just money in general. Some people have money in the stock market. I mean, not in the stock market, but in a savings account in the bank, making less than 1% on that money. So as a real estate investor, one of our biggest challenges is money, getting money to do multiple deals. If you're an investor that wants to do more than one deal at a time, then you've got to borrow money from other sources. So that's one of the biggest challenges that we have as real estate investors. And so when we're looking for money, when I'm looking for money for my deals, because most of the deals that I buy, I don't want to spend my own money. So I just kind of look around and just start asking people that I know that may or may not have money, are you looking to get into the real estate investing arena, and would you like to partner with me? And so that's the type of terminology that I use. And then they may say how, and I'll explain to them that I'm looking for silent partners, limited partners who give me money for deals. And in return, I'll give you a return on your investment, let's say 10%. And that 10% is paid per annum, paid annually, which means if I hold the money for a year, I pay 10%. If I hold the money for half the year, which is 6 months, then I pay 5%. And then if they're interested, I let them know when I have a property, I'll get you certain information for that property. Pictures of the property, of course, the address, the scope of work, meaning a narrative on what type of investing, what type of renovations I'm going to do, a draw schedule outlining how I'm going to get the money from the lender, from the bank to do the renovations. I'll get comps for them, and I'll email them the comps. I'll give them pictures of before, and then I'll send them the comps to show the after repair values of the properties in the neighborhood. I'll send them the contract so they know exactly what I'm buying the property for. And so I'll give them as much money as I can, as much information as I can, so I can get money from them to do the deals. And then I secure the agreement with what's called a promissory note. So I give them a promissory note. I do a personal guarantee on the promissory note. Sometimes we record the promissory note when we close on the deal, and sometimes we don't. But I give a personal guarantee, and so that's how you do it. And again, as I said earlier, one's biggest challenge as an investor is raising the money. And so you do it with a private lender, like I just described, or you can do a joint venture agreement, a partnership, all those types of things. And so let me just give you one example. And so I bought a property last year in Northeast DC, in the Brentwood area, and bought the property. A wholesaler actually brought me the deal. I put it on the contract for $300,000, and I gave her. I think I gave her. Let's just say I gave her $20,000 for the opportunity. So I paid her a wholesale fee for the opportunity. So I'm all in as far as the purchase at $320,000. I went to a hard money lender. Told the hard money lender I needed to borrow money to buy the property for the acquisition, and I also needed money for the rehab. The rehab was going to cost $120,000. So I borrowed the acquisition money and the renovation money from the hard money lender. But now I still needed money for closing costs. I got to close on the deal. And I still needed money for the first draw, because the lender is not going to give me the money for the first draw until after the work in the first draw is completed. And so I needed money to get through the first draw to the contractors, and I needed money to close the deal, the closing costs. All total, I needed somewhere around $50,000. And so I went to a private lender that I knew. I gave them a call, and I said, I've got this deal over in Northeast DC. Gave her all the information, sent her all the information. I need $50,000, and she sent it to me. Long story short, renovated the property, staged it, put it on the market, sold it for $660, thinking that we were only going to get like $630, I believe, but we got about $30,000 above list price type of market we were in last year. And I paid back the hard money lender, paid back the private lender, and then the rest, which was over $100,000 profit, went into my pocket. But I did that whole deal using none of my own money. And so acquisition, rehab costs came from the hard money lender. Closing costs and getting the contractor started with the first draw came from that private lender. I like to use my money as a reserve, just in case something pops up that we just weren't aware of, which oftentimes when you're flipping properties happens. Now, you can use a private lender. I know this is a long answer, but since you look so intense that you're really listening to me, I'll give you the long drawn out answer. But you can use a private lender in the same fashion for a buy and hold, because we do, like you guys are familiar with the BRRRR method, BRRRR, buy the property. So I'm thinking about one that I just did. So I bought a property, sort of the same scenario, but instead of flipping the property, and I use a private lender. Instead of flipping the property, I refinanced the property. Once the property was renovated, rented out. I like to use in Section 8 tenants, rented out to a Section 8 tenant. I refinanced the property, paid back the hard money lender, and paid back the private lender. And now I've got an asset that I didn't put any of my own money into, that's cash flowing at about $800 or $900 a month in positive cash flow, but also more importantly for me, has over $100,000 in equity in it starting off, in a market that's getting, the last couple of years we've been getting about 20% appreciation. That's going to tail down as time goes, but I've got this asset that's appreciating, that's cash flowing, but none of my own money into the deal. So that's how you use a private lender.
And I guess to build relationships, you've got to deliver what you say you're going to deliver to that private investor. Have you had them or knowingly had them vet you as an investor?
Yeah, yeah, they vet me because a lot of them are taking like their retirement and
Right,
investing in retirement.
right,
But know that if things work out, that they're going to get 10 times on their money than they would if it's still in a bank in a savings account. Most of them are getting maybe two. And if it's a CD, if they have their money in a CD, they're getting 1 or 2%. If it's in like a mutual fund or thrift savings, they're getting maybe 3 or 4 or 5%. And so in that case, you're almost doubling their money. Some people have their money in the stock market and pulled it out of the stock market. And in the stock market, they were getting, I don't know, 5, 6, 7%. So
mm,
being a private lender, investing in real estate, you're actually giving them the opportunity to make more money. And to your point, the more successful you are on these deals, the more they're actually calling you, seeing if they could,
right.
reinvest their money back into some deals. I've gotten calls
Right.
already this week. You have any deals I can invest with you on?
Hmm. That's a good point. That's a good message for the investors, that for some investors out there, the least of their worries right now is finding a cash buyer. Their worry is finding the opportunities right now.
And
Very
honestly,
good.
that's the key to a successful real estate investor. If you're a real estate investor that can find deals, then you're golden. And in my early 20s, that's all I focused on, is finding deals. Because that's why a lot of people put their money in the stock market, because they can't find real estate investing deals. It's no argument whether, well, some people would argue, but there's no argument really on what's the best investment. Um, Investing your money in the stock market or investing in real estate. It's really no comparison. It's real estate is the answer. But the problem with real estate is um, you've got to be good at finding the opportunities. You've got to be really good at finding the opportunities. And a lot of people can't. They can't find, they don't have the time, energy. But if you're able to find deals, there's not a better place to put your money than real estate. Real estate is the gift that keeps on giving. You own real estate, it's always appreciating in value. It's always cash flowing for you. Um, you can refinance that asset. Like I just refinanced one of my properties last month, and took some money out to invest in more real estate. Um, it's a good vehicle to build wealth. Real estate.
Very good. Greg, let's flip the page here and talk a lot about flips, fixing and flipping. So question comes in, how do you manage, or what is your strategy to manage multiple flips going on at the same time?
Well, you just need good talent around you. You need manpower around you. You just need good talent. So I don't flip as much as I used to. There were some times 4 or 5 years ago where I was flipping 10 properties at once at various stages. And so when I was doing that, I had about 4 different crews, each doing maybe 2 or 3 properties at the same time, all at various stages. And so, I had an assistant, Susan. She was out in the field every single day, making sure that the contractors showed up. She took care of, permits and inspections and the draws from the lender. She took care of all that type of paperwork and things like that. And at that time, I had more time to spend, at the projects. But I primarily focused on at that time finding the deals and getting them financed. That's kind of all I've really focused on. Finding the deals, doing the marketing, meeting with wholesalers, us doing our marketing, and then making sure that I had relationships with hard money lenders, with private lenders. I had established a pretty large line of credit from a bank, so I would use my line of credit, and so that's how you do it. And then what I would do is I would hire different crews that had a general contractor, and I would walk the properties with them initially. We would do a pre-construction walkthrough, and then I would just tell them, what I wanted in the house. And then everything that I wanted in the house was according to the scope of work. And so I gave them a copy of the scope of work. Right now it's a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. When it's done, I'm thinking about the property we did on Otis Street in Northeast in the Woodridge area. 3-bedroom, 1-bath. When it's done, it's going to be 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. We're going to put in an addition. We're going to go up a level. We're going to do a 2-story addition, basically, and dig out the basement to put a bedroom and a bathroom in the basement. And so that's what we did. And then I would give them a copy of the draw schedule, so they knew exactly what they needed to do when in order to get paid. And so once I did the pre-construction walkthrough, they had a copy of the scope of work. They had a copy of the draw schedule. Probably 70% of my job was done. I was off trying to find other properties. I would come check on the properties at the very least once a week. Susan would go out probably twice a week. So they saw us at least every other day. And we would check on them. And so that's just how we did it. We had a preferred title company that had all of our information. So it was easy to close with our preferred title company that was investor friendly. All of the lenders, we used all the same lenders. And then the other thing is, with all of my finishes, really no matter where the property was, almost all of my finishes at the properties were all the same. So we use all the same paint colors. We basically use all the same granite, grade of granite. All the trim work, the baseboards, the crown molding. I used the wainscoting look with the chair railing. So they knew all that. Chair railing's white. Everything below the chair railing is white. Baseboards are white. We use the 4-inch baseboards with the shoe molding. Crown molding was white. So all the trim is white. And then we use gray walls, same paint. And so since everything was the same cabinets, everything, it's pretty easy. The tile in the bathrooms are all the same. And so my renovations were pretty cookie cutter. And I'm not suggesting that, but it's just easier for me just to do all of them the same. If we had to put in new siding, gray siding, with a black or charcoal roof, and everything else, all the exterior trim is painted white. I just kept everything the same. I keep everything the same. I still do that. I got a call from one of my contractors this morning. We're renovating 2 properties to rent. He said, "What paint?" I said, "You know what paint? It's the same gray that we do on every project." But anyway, and so that's how you manage multiple projects, by having good talent around you, and doing everything the same. But every project's different. Every project, you're going to have different issues that come up. But that's how you do it, and you can do it. I don't suggest anyone who's new at this, do one at a time. Just do one property at a time until you feel comfortable and have the resources. Then do 2 at a time, and then so on and so forth. And that's just with flipping. Obviously, I've kind of come full circle in my investing career, which has been a long career, where I started off only buying and holding back in the mid 80s. And then along the way, I got into wholesaling and flipping. But so now I'm back to pretty probably 70% of everything I buy now, I just want to buy and hold. I'm just really, I'm closer to retirement than I used to be. And so I just want to really prepare for a really good retirement and having more and more and more cash flow and passive income coming in. So now I'm renovating to hold. Let's answer. I think we've got a couple questions here.
Okay.
Valerie, hey Valerie. Valerie is asking, when do you use your own money versus borrowing? And so Valerie, honestly, the answer is it depends. But for me, I try to borrow as much as I can, and I try to use my own money, for miscellaneous things, for change orders. And you're always going to have change orders. You have a scope of work, you have a draw schedule, but of course your contractor is going to give you a call and say, well, this is not on the the draw schedule, but I took down the walls and we've got all these termites, or we've got mold, or we've got whatever. My lender generally, they won't, if they give you, let's say $80,000 for rehab, and they break it out into 3 draws, they're generally not going to come back and give you more for a change order. So I keep my own personal money for change orders and just things like that come up. So I try to borrow as much as I can. And when you're building wealth, you guys, you're building wealth using other people's money. That's how you build wealth. You don't build wealth using your own money. You build wealth using other people's money. Other people being hard money lenders, private lenders, banks, joint venture partners, whatever. We're using other people's money. All right, Cynthia Graham. Hey, Cynthia. What's today? Is today Wednesday? I think today's Cynthia's day off. If it's not, after I answer this question, Cynthia, go back to work. What is the process when you want to present your offer prior to getting financing, and they are asking for proof of funds? And so what proof of funds really means is a seller is asking really for a lender letter. And so you can get a lender letter from your lender. You can get a lender letter from your lender. Proof of funds is also, you can provide a bank statement. If you don't have a bank statement, maybe your joint venture partner does, or if you're wholesaling, your cash buyer can give you a bank statement. But pretty much your proof of funds is like a lender letter, like a loan approval letter. Yeah. And then Paulette, hey Paulette, what's the best way to find investment properties? She lives in DC. And so the best properties, I would say, most of our coaching students, we coach some investment students, and the way they found properties, let's just take last year. A lot of them found properties at the auction.
Yeah.
And so they went to various auctions, hubzoo.com, auction.com, ashlandauctions.com. I think Dana found a property in Northeast, a condo that he bought and rented out through Ashland Auctions. So I would say auctions probably number one. And then what would you say number two, Keith? Would you say cold calling or
social media has made great strides in the last year?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Cold calling is definitely good. It's not glamorous work, but it works. It works. As you like to say, there's a lot of homeowners out there with issues with their properties. People in pre-foreclosure. You have landlords carrying tenants that weren't able to pay and looking to get rid of their property. So, it's about having those conversations. And then, of course, driving for dollars is also a method that one can use also, driving neighborhoods.
So driving for dollars, and then probate is good too. But honestly, the best way is just networking and branding. just networking with other people, letting everybody that know that you're a real estate investor, that you can buy houses, you can buy them fast, you can buy them for cash. And even if you can't, I can. There's cash buyers that can. But and so it's branding, and then it's networking. And so if you brand yourself and let people know that this is what you do, and you talk to a lot of people, that's the best way of finding deals. Because when I talk to some of the people that I actually look up to, as far as real estate investors, and I ask them, how do you find properties? 100% of the time, they'll tell me networking. They branded themselves so well that people just know that they're in the business, and they find a deal, they call. And that's how they do it. I'm thinking of one of my agents, Jihad. He's now one of the top investors in DC. Dillon Investments, I think is the name of his company. And he doesn't do any marketing whatsoever. And now he won't touch anything unless it's $1 million, unless he can buy for $1 million, sell for like, 2 million, 3 million. And sometimes he will tell me he can't take any more deals. He's got so many deals. And it's just through branding and then delivering. You buy a property, you make sure that you buy it so that either the wholesaler or the sellers gets their money. And then he does a really nice renovation. He's got more deals than he can handle. He turns wholesalers down because he just has so many deals. Let's see. Darlene has a question. Is it very expensive to dig down the basement? I'm wondering what the overall cost is for additional bedrooms and bathrooms, along with changes to the basement. And so to dig down on a basement. So number one, you want to make sure you have 7 feet. Make sure that the ceiling has 7 feet. And then you've got to make sure that often you got to make sure that you've got to check what's called the footers, and it's like the foundation that's holding up the properties, how far down the footers go. Because if you've got to dig down, let's say that you've got 6 feet and you need to get 7 feet. What that means is you actually have to dig down 2 feet. You've got to dig down 2 feet. Now you have 8 feet, but then you put back the dirt and you put back dirt and concrete and build that foundation another foot. So now you actually have 7 feet. The cost of doing that is, it just depends, but I'll just say it's going to cost you about $20,000 to what's called underpin the house. It's going to cost somewhere around $20,000 to underpin, which means you're going to dig, in that case, 2 feet down, replace all that dirt and concrete with another foot up. So now you've got your 7 feet, and you do it all the way around the perimeter. So you're underpinning the house. But we're only doing those things if it fits the formula. And so let's say that you have a renovation that's going to call for 120,000, so that your after repair value, let's just say in my case, was 650,000. Now that 120,000, 20,000 of that was to underpin the house. The rest of it was to finish the rest of the house. And so you just have to make sure that when you're underpinning, it just makes sense in terms of the numbers. And so real estate investing is just all a numbers game. It's just a math problem. All the numbers have to fit. And if all the numbers fit, then you do that. Now, I would consider underpinning a major renovation. And so if you're new, I wouldn't do a project that calls for digging down, adding levels, adding additional square footage, things like that initially. I would do more of a cosmetic renovation where you're just doing kitchen, bath, paint, flooring, maybe the roof, maybe windows. That's it. I wouldn't add square footage, dig down, or anything like that unless you've got a lot of experience and you have a contractor that really knows what they do. And so that's basically the cost of that. So the house we talked about on Otis Street, so we had to underpin that house, and then we put a two-story addition on that. And so along with all of that, just it takes a lot of permits. Everything's got to be inspected. You got to make sure that a project like that is going to take you 6 months to 9 to 6 months to complete. So you got to just remember all those kinds of things. All right, Keith, I think we've answered all the questions here.
Hey, Greg, speaking of permits, are permits required on the flip if you're demoing floors, kitchens, and bathrooms?
If you're demoing floors, if you're just taking out new floors and putting new floors back, you don't need a permit for that.
Okay.
If you're renovating a kitchen, are you saying you're renovating a kitchen and renovating a bathroom?
Right.
So you're renovating, huh?
And floors as well.
Yeah. So you need a permit for those things, because if you're putting in recessed, let's just say in the kitchen you're putting in recessed lighting, so you need a permit for that. If you're changing anything with the plumbing, you're going to need a plumbing permit. If you're putting in HVAC in the house and running the ducts through the kitchen and bathrooms, you need a permit for that.
Mm. And
so the answer is for kitchens and bathrooms, unless you're just doing a cosmetic renovation, you do need permits.
Okay.
But general light demo, you don't need a permit. If you guys are in Washington D.C., or if you're in Washington D.C., you can actually get a demo permit online. It's called a postcard permit, and so you can pull a postcard permit on your own online. That's for a light renovation, a light demo. You can do that on your own. And then where we are here in Maryland, you can do a light demo and not have a permit.
Okay. Here's an auction question, Greg. So you're online, you found a deal, or perhaps on an auction site. When is the best time to reach out to the cash buyer? The investor wants to know that.
So if you're a wholesaler and you want to wholesale an auction property, then you reach out to the cash buyer before you bid on the property. And so we call it reverse wholesaling, but you want to make sure that whatever you bid on, you've got someone that's going to buy the property, because you're gonna bid on the property and you're probably going to put it in an LLC. So the LLC is going to be the buyer. You need to make sure that your cash buyer is going to buy that property. But in addition to buying for the amount that you're bidding on, they're going to have to pay an extra commission, what we call the buyer's premium. Sometimes it's 5%, and they're going to have to pay your wholesale fee. So you've got to work out all those numbers before you bid. And so what a lot of people do is they'll call me or text me the address, say, I want to bid on this property and wholesale it to you. What will you buy it for? I'll run the comps and say, okay, if you bid on this property, you get it for example, Columbus bought one, got one under contract at 125. I said, don't go over 125. And he went to 125 and no one bid it, and he won. And I remember him just being so excited. And so I already knew what the buyer's premium was going to be, what his wholesale fee was going to be. I had put all that on top. And what that came out to be was somewhere around 130. And the after repair value on the property was about 275. And I said, okay, if I buy it for 130, I put about $50,000 into it, sell it for 275. It's a good deal for me. And so those are the numbers that I worked out, and it worked out. And so, but he contacted me before, he actually bid on the property. But then the other thing is, real quick, when you're bidding on properties and you're a wholesaler, make sure that the buyer is an LLC, maybe the address LLC. Because if you bid on a property, when you bid on a property, the auctioneer says, "Who's bidding on this property?" You raise your hand. Let me see your deposit. This is if you're in person. Let me see your deposit. If you're in front of the courthouse steps, you show the deposit that's required. You win the bid. You've got to go up to the auctioneer and sign a one-page contract. You got to put the name of the buyer. You put your name as the buyer, you can't assign that contract because you can't assign you. But if you put an LLC, like the address LLC, 123 Main Street LLC, now you can assign that LLC to a cash buyer. And so the reason I bring that up is because that's happened a few times where someone tried to wholesale an auction property to me. They put it on the contract, but they put it on the contract in their name. I'm like, I can't buy this because I'm not you. So then they called and sent letters and emails, and finally the company allowed them to change the name.
Okay, Greg. Here's another question here. So a homeowner lived in the house for more than 2 years. It stayed in the family, and he rented it, but now it's been vacant since January of 2020 or something like that. Can he 1031 exchange that property?
So he wants to sell the property now, and he's going to sell it for a profit. And to avoid capital gain taxes, he wants to take that profit or that capital gain and put it on another property that's similar. Yeah, he can do that. He can 1031 it.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's had the property for a while, the fact that it's been in the family, that has nothing to do with 1031. 1031 is just you're deferring paying the capital gain taxes. Now you do have to buy. It does have to be a like kind exchange, meaning a residential property for another residential property, like kind. But as long as he does that, yeah, he can. And let's say he makes a $50,000 profit, he can take that $50,000, not pay any capital gain on that. Give that $50,000 to what we call an intermediary. Could be a title company, could be a lawyer to hold that money until he closes on another property, and then he can use that $50,000 to purchase that other property and not have to pay capital gain taxes right now on that money, on that $50,000. That capital gain, paying the capital gain taxes on that is deferred.
Okay. All right. So, Greg, I've got 2 more questions. The first question is, if an investor is still employed, how can they create their own solo 401k in preparation for a buy and hold this year?
All right. So that's a good question. So solo 401k. So all they have to do is just set up an LLC. And so they have to set up a solo member LLC. It could be, their last name buys houses LLC. So Smith buys houses LLC. They're the only member in that LLC. And now they can set up a solo 401k with that one LLC. As long as they're an employee and not a business owner with employees, they can do that.
Okay.
So what's good about that is similar to the question you just asked me with the Starker exchange,
1031,
the 1031 exchange. Right. Investing money out of your solo 401k is another great way of deferring taxes, deferring paying the capital gain taxes. unless you get what's called a Roth solo 401k, where let's say you buy a property, you sell a property and make $50,000. You can pay the taxes, the capital gain taxes on that 50,000, and then bring the rest back into the solo 401k. Now you're building up that solo 401k tax free, and so now that's a tax free retirement vehicle for you if you do it that way. But what most people do is they just bring the money back, all the capital gain back into, and they keep reinvesting it, and they're flipping a number of properties, and they're not paying any capital gain taxes, and they're making a whole lot of money. And then let's say when they're, I think it's either 59 and a half or I think it's 71 and a half. But anyway, when they retire, now they're not making as much money. So now they're in a lower tax bracket. They're in a lower tax bracket. So now when they take the money out, they're not paying as much taxes on that money as they would had if they paid the taxes when they were making a whole lot of money. Mm-hmm. So it's a tax saving strategy, the solo 401k. And when you take your money out of the solo 401k, you're not penalized. As long as you bring back all that money plus the capital gain, you're not penalized as you would be a regular 401k.
Got it. Okay. One more question in a comment, Greg. So the question is, can a new investor buy and hold another family member's property to keep the property in the family? So the situation is that I guess the owner of the house is ill, dementia is kicking in. They may be forced to go to assisted living or be awarded the state.
And so the question is, can they buy that property?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. They can quit claim deed it, but they need to do it as soon as possible, because you don't want to be in a situation where either like if they have dementia, mm-hmm. they're not of sound mind.
Right.
It takes a court order to now purchase that property. You need a doctor's letter. You got to go in front of a judge. And so you want to hurry up and do that while they're still of sound mind. They can sign their own name, all those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But can that be done? Absolutely. You can do a quick claim deed and have it done in a couple of days, as long as, once the title company, and our title company at Celebrate Settlements does, they do that. They'll do a title search, make sure there's no liens or judgments on the property, and they can expedite that in 2 or 3 days, and then just help you do a quick claim deed.
Mm-hmm. Very good, very good. So, Greg, you started this podcast out talking about everyone's on a clean slate. It's a new year. Last year's accomplishments are yesterday's accomplishments. So what's the one thing that you could advise that investor that's maybe sitting on the fence? They kind of know what their goals are, but they're not quite yet sure how to take action.
I would say you just got to jump. Like you said, it's 2022. We'll look up and it's going to be October, November, December of 2022. It's January now. It's January the 5th now. And so you just got to jump. You just got to go for it. You got to do what all of us have already done. You can't overthink it. You can't have analysis paralysis. You just got to jump. You got to get in all of this information, get a coach, get a mentor, be in an investment group with like-minded people, and then just take action. But what I see is, kind of to your point, a lot of people wanting to be great, wanting to be wealthy, wanting to live their best life, but just too afraid to do so, or overthinking it. And so you can't do that. We've got to live up to our fullest potential. Tomorrow's not promised. And so we've got to do everything we can. And sometimes we just got to force ourselves. And so you can take, what's the old saying? You can take a a horse to some water, but you can't make them drink. And so that's the that's just so true. And so if you're on the fence about building wealth through real estate investing, honestly, give us a call. Give Keith a call, give me a call. You can always go to my scheduler. I'm happy to talk to you, gbschedule.com. But you've got to, or you can call Keith. I'll let Keith give his information. But the time is now. The time is right now. We have no excuses. There's plenty of resources. There's lots of podcasts like this one. With the internet, there's a bunch of podcasts, YouTube videos. There's books that you can read. There's just so many resources that you can read. But then at the end of the day, you can read those books, listen to those podcasts, know everything there is. But so what if you're not taking action? Who cares if you know all those things and you're not making money? And so now is the time. And you might say, okay, well, I've got an excuse that we're in a COVID environment. There's so many people. Who did I see? Andre was on here. Andre really got his start last year, and he's killing it. And he's out in the field every single day. He's masked up. But Mr. Bennett, I got another deal. Hope he's on. I'm trying to imitate him. Is he on here? And it's like every week, Andre's got a deal. He's not overthinking it. He wants to be great. He's got a small business. He said, Mr. Bennett, I'm going to sell my small business, use that money to invest more in real estate. I was like, okay, let's go. Let's do it. And he's doing it. But his motivation, and it begins and ends there sometimes, is he wants to be a great provider for his family. He's got, I believe he's got a son and a daughter, but he definitely has a wife, and he just wants to be a great provider. He wants to live a great life. He's got a lot of energy, a lot of potential, and he just wants to live up to that potential. And so that's what I would say to everybody: live up to your fullest potential. It's January. We don't want to look up 12 months from now and you're still on these podcasts, or you're still getting ready to get ready, and you haven't done anything. Bottom line is you just got to take action. Ask a lot of questions. We have an event on the 24th, free of charge, both in person, and we're going to stream it. If you're not comfortable being in person, we'll stream it as well. We'll get you all the information, but it's on the 24th of this month. No, that's not right. The 15th.
The 15th, yeah.
It's on the 15th of this month, a week from Saturday. But we'll have some of our coaching students on the panel. We're going to get you ready for 2022. It's going to be right here in the DMV area, and let's go. Let's go to that event and keep going to more networking with people who are already doing it. We're going to have plenty of people in the room that are doing it. And there's nothing special about us. There's nothing special. None of us was born with a silver spoon in our mouths. Nothing real special. But here's the common denominator, you guys. We all want to be great. We all strive to be great. And we're looking for greatness, and we're looking to live up to our potential. And that's what you guys have to do, with no excuses whatsoever. And so I don't want to hear the excuse that I don't have the money. I don't have money. I don't have money to invest. You don't need money to invest. You just need to be able to hustle like Andre, because a lot of what Andre's doing is he's just finding these opportunities, putting them under contract, and he's wholesaling these opportunities to other people. Didn't spend any money doing that. Wholesaling, you don't need money. I don't have a coach. We're a coach. We have a coaching program. Like whatever the objection is, we've got an answer for it. And so you don't have an excuse. But I know that some of you guys need more money. I know some of you guys are living paycheck to paycheck. you're in the rat race, you hate your job, you hate your boss, what are you going to do about it? Right? What are you going to do about it? Let's stop whining and crying about where you are in life. You've got to do something about it. You've got to take action. We are here to help you. There's a lot of other people that are more than willing to help you. We get you going, get you making money. Now you're out helping other people. Each one teach one. Let's go. And let's make this year, 2022, our best year ever. Man, it starts now. And it doesn't start tomorrow, and it doesn't start next week. I can't go out because there's snow and ice out. No. We're going to overcome that. We're going to get out. There's phone calls that you can make. There's things that you can do. It's a COVID environment. I got all kinds of masks all around my desk right here. We masked up, and we're going to do it. We're going to wash our hands. We're going to stay 6 feet, but we're still going to make that money. And then when COVID lifts, we're going to make even more money, but with no excuses. No excuses. I can't tell you, our coaching students, how many properties they bought last year in a COVID environment. How many properties my real estate agents sold last year. A lot of my real estate agents, their best year ever in a COVID environment, their best year ever, because they didn't listen to the noise. It's like, I'm focused. I got goals. I got bills to pay. I'm motivated. I got to get my daughter through college. My daughter's starting college. I got to get her through. I can't go to her and say, you can't go to college. But let's do it. So that's what I would say, Keith. That's what I would say. Let's do it. Let's go for it. Let's take action. No excuses. Let's be great. Let's be great. Again, look at Keith. Ain't nothing special. Look at him. Just take a look at him right now. There's nothing special about him. He needs to trim his beard. You need to trim your beard.
Leave my beard alone.
There's nothing special about us, but we just want to be great, and that's it. We want to be great. A lot of my investors, no college degree, nothing, but we making money. We making money. I do have a college degree, but it's not a requirement. But the requirement is hustle. The requirement is work ethic. The requirement is doing your due diligence, studying. Requirement is, taking action and doing all those kinds of things. All right. So, I said a lot. What time is it? Oh, okay. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Valerie is saying, what are those sites again for opportunities? Several I'm seeing online. I think she's talking about the auctions. And so for the auctions, you can go to hubzu.com, hubzu.com. You can go to auction.com. You can go to ashland.com. This is recorded, by the way, you guys. You can catch this on my Facebook page, on my YouTube channel, and all of the podcasts places, Apple Podcasts. You can find all this there. If you miss any of this. AlexCooper.com here in our area in the DMV. You can go in front of the courthouse steps and find all that on AlexCooper.com. So all those places you guys can find. Valerie, you can find those opportunities. Or Valerie, just DM me, call me, Valerie, make an appointment to meet with me, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, Valerie and I, we're going to be meeting in a day or two, so I'll square away with all that information.
Okay. You guys can actually reach me. Let me put I'll put my Instagram, Greg Bennett Invest. You can follow me there. You can contact me there, Greg Bennett Invest. Also on Facebook is The Bennett Team on Facebook, The Bennett Team on Facebook. Best place is Instagram, though. Follow me on Instagram. How do you want them to contact you, Keith?
Just contact me right now. Just call me 301-461-2503. Once again, 301-461-2503. We can sit down. We can have a strategy call. There's no charge for that. But like Greg said, let's go.
And so you guys, yeah, follow me on Instagram, and I will give you the information on Instagram for our next our next event. You can Google meetup.com. I think we're Prince George's County real estate investors meetup. So you can Google that and this join our meetup.com, Prince George's County Real Estate Investors Association, I think is the name of it. And so that information will be there. Probably today it'll be there. And then we'll send out emails. It'll be on all of my social media for January the 15th. Let's see what else. Provide information to the whole. And so, so Jessica, again, contact me on Instagram. But we do have a program for wholesalers. We do have a kind of an intro, an 8-week course. Let me put the 8-week course in here. I think the site is it's BBC 8-week course.com. Is that it, Keith? BBC8weekcourse.com?
Yeah.
All right. So you guys can go to BBC8weekcourse.com to get our 8-week course. And then when you get the 8-week course, you automatically, you'll get that today, by the way. But we have a Tuesday night Q&A. Every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we have a Q&A. And you'll be able to come on to the Q&A and ask as many questions as you want on the Q&A. Similar format to this one. All right. I don't think we have any more questions. Yeah, Charisse, Miss Charisse, sweetheart. Yeah, you got to be part of Instagram. You got to get a part. You got to be a part of Instagram. Or Facebook. You can always call our office number, 301. What's our number? 301-459-5040. If you want to call us, I'm sure there's another way that she can get a hold of us. You can always go to my scheduler, gbschedule.com, gbschedule.com. All right, you guys, look, let's go for it. 2022 is here. Let's go. Let's go get them. Let's treat this year like it's going to be our best year ever. And let's make some strides, baby steps every single day, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, until we can get to that big ultimate goal. And you'll get there, but you've got to start, and you've got to start now. Stop procrastinating and stop making excuses. I think we talk ourselves out of success more so than we do talking ourselves into success. And so, I find that out when I talk to people, like, why are all these limited beliefs? Why are you believing that you can't do it? Because if you can't do it, then you can't do it. But if you can do it, then you will do it. And so that's kind of the mindset. Glass is always half full. And that's the type of mindset you've got to have going into this year. For a lot of you guys, it's a new year, it's a new day. Like he said earlier, I don't care what you did last year. That was last year. We got a clean slate. So far, it's been 5 days of a clean slate. What have you done for me lately? What have you done this year? But let's make this year a great year. All right, Keith. Appreciate
Thanks, Greg. I'm excited.
Good. You guys take care. God bless. And we will talk to you soon. Have a great hump day. Take care.
Take care.